Welcome to the Woodshed with Cody Wood on the Equus Radio Network, where some amazing guests stop in, share their stories, and have a few laughs along the way. From the rodeo road to everyday life, it's all part of the ride. Here's your host, Cody Wood.
Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Equus Radio Network. This is the Woodshed with Cody Wood, and we're here to have a pretty fun little half hour here. We're going to start talking about something a little bit different than what we have been. Big-time football fan, love football, top to bottom, everything about it. And right now I have got some of my Gridiron gang with me right here that I have grown up with, learning this sport, loving this sport. So I've got Mr. JD Seraphine, Josh Fleck, and Aaron Fleck here, all three of them, great football players, great football minds. And fellas, pumped to see you, man. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, bro. Let's go. You know, what's funny is that, we three of us all played together. You know, Fleck, we got the Fleck brothers, both great football players. But Aaron and Cody and I were on a team that went to the state championship, went undefeated, right? We had a good run together. Cody and I often talk about being wedge busters because we were both on kickoff team together. What's funny is that Aaron was actually the tip of the wedge. He kicked the ball, and he's so damn fast, he tried to beat us down the field, even though the coaches did not want him to do that. He was supposed to be the safety and fall back. So we were the three of us were kind of the wedge going down to kickoff.
We were all right next to each other. I know, and what's awesome is, football actually kind of ties in, all four of our relationships. But like I said, JD, the first time I ever met you in 1990 at the Mile High football camp up in northern Colorado, and that's actually where my love of football began, was at that football camp. And it's just funny how you vividly remember things at such a young age. And a sport like football, I think, does that, and ties those memories together and makes them stand out, no doubt about it.
Yep.
But
the old Pagano family was their camp, which obviously they went on to coach. He was coaching the Colts at one point, and I think one of them was the D coordinator on the Chargers.
Yeah,
Sam. There's a lot of football. Yeah,
I know, and it kills me to this day because Coach Allen was the other half of that camp, and they were like best friends. And so if we would have gone the coaching route, we actually had an in to where you needed to be with the Pagano brothers, and missed opportunity right there for sure. But
were the Paganos from Colorado?
Their dad was the creator of Mile High Football Camp with Coach Allen, and so when AD were at the Mile High Football Camp, the two of the just assisting coaches there was Chuck Pagano, Sam Pagano.
Crazy.
Yeah, Josh, we could never go to that. I always asked our mom each year, I'm like, can we go? But it was $350, and she would play you're already good enough at football. What do you need to go to a camp for before the
I was wondering
season?
why you weren't there.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is you were still all Colorado, so that goes to show you.
So it sounds like Diana was right.
Well, then we didn't play together again until high school, but we had to play Cody's team, the Gators, every year, and that was horrible. I hated playing the Gators. Just come hit you right in the mouth, dude,
Yeah, no, and that's why I love football. Like in Nick Monastra, he was so good.
Yeah.
So good. And he was at that camp too, and there's another standout. But man, we're coming off a pretty good Monday night. This start of the NFL season, all of us being Bronco fans, it wasn't perfect, but man, I'm feeling pretty good about the direction we're headed now. After starting out 1-2, being 2-2, the Denver Broncos just put it on the Bengals last night.
Sure. We put it on them. That's great. But we put it on the Joe Burrow-less Bengals. And it still looked pretty sloppy, if you ask me, especially in the first half. I was still frustrated.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like I said, that interception. And you're right, it is the Joe Burrow-less Bengals. But the thing is they beat us a year ago, right?
Joe Burrow.
With Joe Burrow, but they gave them the opportunity to say that they deserve to be in the playoffs. And, Burrow or not, they were horrible. They had the wheels were falling off, and so
I agree.
Blame Joe Burrow on a lot of that. And at the end of the day, yeah, he's a massive player, but at the same time, he's one of 22 people on the field.
Yeah.
And so either way, man, there's a lot for us to take away from it.
28-3 is a good win. Green Bay just lost to the Browns, for crying out loud. That's a good.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have the best defense in the league, but yeah, I'm still pretty negative about the Broncos. I really, because it's kind of like it's shades of last year. We look great against the bad teams, but still sloppy at times. And then against the good teams, then our defense does not look like what everybody says they are against the good teams.
Greenlaw.
Well, yeah, that's another story.
Yeah,
we love your boy JD Singleton, but we got to get Greenlaw in there.
No, it's not. You could tell. Look, Singleton looked as good as he's looked last night. He's had a rough time. I mean, I've never torn an ACL. I think Fleck, you tore yours and played with it torn, right? Or you tore yours playing flag football, still tore. You never fixed it. But I mean, you could tell the first couple of games, you could see Singleton just really like his game was relying on his quickness, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not Ray Lewis big, right? Yeah. So in order for him to have an advantage against guys that might be bigger, especially O-linemen in the current game, he's got to be a half a step or a step quicker than everyone else. And he just hasn't been playing at that speed. And I think it's killed him. I mean, our run defense is still, like, to Josh's point, we kind of shorted up, but like there's times that Surtain has looked a litul looser than usual in coverage. And I think he's still great. The first game he looked superhuman. And then after that, he's had, so it's interesting. Like the pieces are there. I think once we have Greenlaw healthy and we have Singleton seemed better last game. He kind of found his footing and he seemed like he's looked the best that he's looked this season. But I think the question is once we get Greenlaw in there and we have the full unit playing, full speed, our secondary, when it's clicking, you can see it. It has moments where it looks like scary. Good. But then it's just, again, like to Josh's point, like I agree with it, even though it was this big win, and statistically the numbers look a certain way. If you watch the game, it didn't feel as dominant as the score reflected. Like that's how I felt watching it. And like my bigger thing again is like in terms of watching Sean Payton is there's just times that I feel like he's falling into these play calling routines that are super predictable in early game situations. And that's where I feel like we're starting slow because I feel like the other coordinators have a beat on him. And sometimes I'm just like, I want to bang my head against the wall because we're like 3 and out, out of the gate. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Right.
Yeah. Last night it was 3 and out and we burnt a timeout first possession.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, and I believe that was the first 3 and out the Bengals have gotten definitely this year, possibly all of last year.
With the Bronco timeout. So we could, great.
Yeah, I know. And I know.
But I think there's moments. Look, there saw moments in the game where you could see Nick's made a few throws last night that, like everyone knows he's mobile and he can create. And there's been those moments over the last year where you're like, oh yeah, he's got the potential. But he made some throws, and he made some long throws last year that like that Cleveland game, the one out of the end zone was just that was the Colts game actually. I think it was, or was it Cleveland? Out the end zone where he hit the guy, hit Mims on a post.
That was
last year.
Yeah,
that was Cleveland. So that I mean, he made some throws last night where I was like, his arm actually impressed me the most last night in moments. I think the question will be like, again, if Peyton can really figure out this offense's identity and figure out how to really game plan and play call, even like earlier on and even when it's scripted, like I think then this team could be a championship caliber team. The pieces are there, but I haven't seen the product on the field where I'm like ready to go buy Super Bowl tickets.
Yeah, and I think that's why I got excited just in general is you could see the pieces starting to fall into place, right? Like just Evan Ingram being back on the field, them almost, forcing it to him in a sense. You could tell some of those plays were, directly written up just for him. And then RJ Harvey too. I mean, getting out there, getting out, out of the backfield, catching the ball. So some of those things that we've been waiting to see, we started to see it last night. And if those things start to evolve, I think it'll be, I think things will really start to be moving, and then Wattenberg having 5 different penalties and stuff like that. I mean, those
2 in a row at one point.
Yeah, those are certain things that are just have got to go. But either way, being 2-2, 1 game back now, essentially, I guess, in the division with the Chargers just laying an egg against the Giants. So that was super helpful. But we're 1 quarter into the season, 3 quarters to go, and I would hope to be 3-1 at a minimum, but 2-2, rolling into Philly. Should be a pretty good weekend.
Well, you're a center. I mean, what do you think of Wattenberg? There's a lot of if you look at a lot of the people who cover the Broncos and write extensively on the team, people have been calling for him to get benched for the last 2 weeks already because he's clearly been the weak link. And then last year he had a really strong year. So it's interesting. Like, I don't know that we have an option behind him. That's the other guy. I forget his name. He's not.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think we have a great option. Obviously, especially after last night, if they didn't replace him, and that's what's unfortunate about it because you look at the other four and they're playing. I haven't seen any stats or numbers on it right now. But ultimately they seem to be playing lights out. Even though I did see, last night Miners had kind of a bad, real bad look at one play, which you don't see very often. But either way, I mean, hopefully they get that turned around and just clean up in general, like we're talking about, and just get things more dialed in.
Yeah, McGlinchey, I saw at one point pancaked Hendrickson. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was, I think it was like third quarter on a pass rush. He just like, and that's rare to see you pancake a guy that good on a
I know, but he was gassed. You could see Hendrickson on the sideline. That 5,280 feet was sinking in on him, and they couldn't get off the field. I mean, I can't remember the exact time of possession, but that defense was gassed, and Trey Hendrickson was. You could just see it in his face that he was gassed on the sideline. But I mean, this weekend will be an interesting matchup right now. I think we're getting in there at the right time. I think Philadelphia is set up for a loss right now. I mean,
so you think we got a trap game ahead of us?
I think we're the trap. Yeah, I think we're the trap. I mean, if you look at Philly, and they should have lost to the Rams. I don't know if you watched that game, but the first part of that game, they were getting dominated.
Yeah.
And so
I'll put my pick on the Broncos for the elimination pool this week.
Please do.
Let's go.
Yeah, please do. Yeah,
like you said, we're right. We're that close to
our offensive line stats. So we are ranked 1 in the league in pass blocking. Guess what we're ranked in run blocking?
31st, I would guess.
28th.
Well, yeah, I didn't realize we hadn't had a 100-yard rusher in 30 games. Remember?
Well, 37 games. Yeah,
I have our rushing stats up too. Both R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins are cracking over 5 yards a carry.
That's solid.
Yeah, so we got to feed
just
the
a
rock.
lack of fucking carries.
Yeah,
but that's crazy that they're doing that, and the PFF stats on the line run blocking is that horrendous. That means the running backs are carrying them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I know. And like I said, we got to have a little bit more balance. And I think that would really, I think a little more running would help the pass play too, help Bo Nix out. But like I said.
Oh, heck yeah. Look what happened to the Ravens when they quit feeding the rock to Derrick Henry. You got to feed the rock. You know? Make him respect the run.
That's right. Respect the run. And it helps the offense.
They're like, we're playing the Chiefs. We're just not going to run Derrick Henry since we're playing the Chiefs.
Yeah.
We're gonna
that makes
forget
sense.
it.
I know. Speaking though of trap games and the Chargers losing, I'm curious to see what you guys think. Jackson Dart, winning his very first start, jumping out there and winning. I guess numbers weren't there, and I didn't watch the game specifically, all of it, but Jackson Dart, Cam Scattaboo, and the Giants finally getting one done. That was kind of interesting to see them.
Yeah, that Scattaboo is a monster.
Yeah, he wants concussions. He wants CTE.
Yeah.
Now.
Old school. John Riggins, let's go.
Yeah, and that's why
it reminds me of an Aaron Fleck, actually.
Seek out the defender. I got a spearing call once while I was running the ball. I'm like, I'm running the ball. You call me for spearing?
Yeah, no kidding. I know. You're right. You go back, though, you watch him at Arizona State, like in that playoff run. And, against Texas, it took him a second to get the ball rolling downhill in that game, essentially, but he took over in that second half, and you could tell he wanted it more than anybody else on the field, and so like when we were looking at the draft and the possibility of getting a running back, and if we would have fallen into the third, fourth round where he was, I would have been super pumped about it because you could tell he wanted to win more than anyone. Yeah. And you got to love that about a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then just in general, so that puts the Eagles, the Bills, the only 2 teams left undefeated. Bills looking pretty dang good for darn sure. A little bit of a scare this weekend to start things off, and then finally started taking away. But We'll see. We'll see. I mean,
Yeah, I think we're poised to take the AFC West for sure. So
yeah, I mean,
we'll see why not.
I threw a wager on it right when they flipped going into this weekend. I told my son, I said, "This is the moment. This is the low point.
Yeah.
Taking the West."
yeah.
So hopefully it was the right time. Hopefully we bought the bottom.
Well, dude, and like you said, we should have beat the Chargers. Like you said, Nix, if he just slows down, he had 3 touchdown passes that he just barely out of reach.
Yes.
But like you said, once that
one
little
of
thing
those would have won
clicks,
that game.
game on.
One of those connected, we win.
Yep. So we're right there.
Yeah, we are right there, and that's where.
Yep.
Like I said, I think we're going to go on a little bit of we get by Philly too, and then we got a couple of games that are a little bit pretty soft actually.
Yeah, we go to London the following week to play the Jets.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in London.
Yeah, did you figure out where you're sitting?
I haven't figured out where I'm sitting yet, but I'm going. I'm already going over there. We're already going over with my lady. So
yeah.
What jersey are you going to wear? You're gonna the Sertain or go old school, the Atwater?
I don't know. I think we're going to go old school. Some sort of old school flavor.
Yeah, you keep them confused over there. They won't know what's going on.
Yeah.
No, that'll be hard. Fun, man. I'm jealous. I would love to go with you, man. I actually even looked at tickets just to scratch an itch, just to see what it'd be like. Since you were going to be there and the opportunity to kind of figure something out. But no, that'll be fun, man.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we finished the season with the Chargers at home. So, I mean, it kind of shaping up that could be, that game could be with the division on the line. Although I would imagine Kansas City's probably still going to have a say in things. I don't know that they're just going to go. They're going to go away, and with Mahomes starting to round into form again, Worthy looks dangerous. I mean, honestly, us drafting Barron looks incredibly smart. As I look at that, as I look at that Chiefs team, and I look down the road and say, what is it going to look like when they come to Denver? And I think we have them in the latter part of October. We've got a stretch where we have them and the Raiders at home in back-to-back weeks. That stretch is, I think, going to really shape whether or not we're in position to make a run for the division, or are we trying to claw into a wild card spot. But the Chiefs look. I was excited because they looked really horrible, and then all of a sudden last week they just out of nowhere snapped into form. So we'll
Lamar
see if
Jackson's 1-6 against the Chiefs. So
I'm gonna go out on a limb though. I'm gonna surprise you probably, and I'm not necessarily say actually I would pick them. I think I'm gonna pick an upset that the Chiefs are gonna fall to 2-3 this week, and the Jaguars are gonna beat the Chiefs in Jacksonville. I just have a feeling right now that on both fronts, the Jacksonville's a little bit better than you realize, and the Chiefs, I think, they came back, but I don't know. Maybe it's just I want them to suck so bad that I'm hoping.
Dude, maybe Travis Hunter picks off Mahomes for a pick 6.
Well, they're gonna start to weed him off of defense right now, I think.
Oh,
and so he might not get very many snaps on defense, but still, either way, I mean, obviously, I don't know him that well, but kind of came off weird with his coach presser, but Liam Cohen. I mean, obviously, he's got something about him that seems to energize a room, seems to got that team going in the right direction, that they weren't a year ago. Coming off beating the 49ers at San Francisco, that's a big win. So we'll see what happens.
And that win was at Seattle too, right?
What's that?
Didn't they just win at Seattle?
Was it at Seattle too? Yeah, I guess I can't remember if it was at Seattle or not. I don't have it in front of me. Yeah, check that. But either way, yeah, they're playing. They got the running game going. Travis Etienne. I mean, Tootin is for a backup is gaining a lot of points on my fantasy team. For a backup. So I like him. I'm liking. Hopefully the Jags can turn something around or shock the world anyway with the Chiefs. Anybody but the Chiefs, right? That's the goal here.
Yep.
Yeah, but JD, I'm curious right now with Gabo and everything. Is he getting into any of those Notre Dame games?
Yeah, I mean, he goes to every home game. I mean, being at school there, it's I've had a chance to go. Last year, I went to the Louisville game, which was kind of one of the better home games. They've got Boise State this weekend. They've got USC coming in, I think, about 2 weeks out, 2 or 3 weeks out. They've got SC coming into town. So, I mean, they have to, Notre Dame's got to win out. If we're switching gears to college football, they've got to win out to have a prayer to get into into the bracket again. But they look good. I mean, they had a dominant win against an SEC team on the road. Even though it's Arkansas, they may not be the strongest of that conference. I honestly think Notre Dame they've done such a great job recruiting that, they're right there with those top tier, with Ohio State's, with Georgia's, they beat Georgia last year in the playoffs. So it's, having a kid at a school like that who gets to experience college football is such an amazing, it's just a gift. I love, as you guys know, we all love football, but watching a college game in that kind of an atmosphere, whether you're at Notre Dame, you're at Ohio State, you're at Michigan, you're at Alabama, any of these big schools, it's such a special experience. And so to have your kids be able to experience it, is amazing. My other son is going to San Diego State. Even they have a great football program. They've been winning a lot of football games so far this year. So I think just being able to be a young adult to experience that as it's a beautiful thing.
It is. Yeah. And speaking of that, and speaking of our friends and their kids or whatnot, Bella Bradshaw was at the Ole Miss the Ole Miss game this weekend, and man, talk about being at a good one to be at. Ole Miss taking down number 4 LSU. I'm sure that place was rocking. I would absolutely love any SEC game. I would love to go to. Heck, I'd go to a Vanderbilt game and just be thrilled. But and especially Vandy's actually pretty good this year behind Piva. But LSU being number 4 and Ole Miss taking them down, and that had to be pretty fun for one of our friends' freshman in college daughter to be there in Oxford for that. But college football has changed so much in such a drastic period of time, and in some ways for the good, some ways for the bad, and right now it's really an interesting process to see how it's shaken out, and watching some of these programs, you look at Clemson, who's opted to not really to partake in the NIL, and they've got these great players that have all these high hopes, and what are they? I think they're 1-3 now. They're gone on the backside. Where you look at the opposite of that spectrum, and Texas Tech has just poured money into the football program, and Texas Tech right now is looking to be a dominant force throughout this year, and one to keep an eye on when it comes to the playoff, because there's a high likelihood that they might have a first round bye if things start to shake out the way that they are, just based off of so much talent that they've plucked away from other schools, that got so much experience. So, 12 teams in the playoff. Obviously, you guys know I absolutely love the college football playoff and think it can continue to get better and better. But,
dude, in the 90s, the only college football game I've been to, well, I think I went and saw Alex Smith play Wyoming when he was at Utah.
Yeah,
but the coolest game
I've ever been to.
In the 90s, I was sitting front row when the Colorado Buffaloes played K-State, when they had Rashawn Salam, Cordell Stewart, and Michael Westbrook, bro. It was Kansas State.
Are you sure?
Yeah. That was a game right there.
Yeah, that's some name dropping though too, dude. That had to be fun.
Yeah,
that's the thing, honestly, for us four, that I hate is that, we grew up like Colorado. Our area is just not good for college football. Like, we just do not have, what these other areas, other schools, other regions.
Yeah, we did.
The atmosphere right now at CU Boulder, man.
Rocking.
I mean, even though the product in terms of Dion and the team, I watched a bit of this last game just because it was funny because it's like the only game on at the end of the Saturday night run, right? And I was like, man, they are a really undisciplined football team. But you look at the coaches, it's like Warren Sapp. I actually I had the pleasure of sitting with Warren at SoFi Stadium when the Chargers played the Broncos, and he was rooting for the Broncos with me because I think he just liked being a naysayer. He is one really cool, but also a bit crazy. And you guys know I'm a bit crazy, so we got along really well. Yeah. But they got Warren Sapp, they got Marshall Faulk. I mean, they've got their coaching staff is insane. But I'm looking at the team. And there was just some undisciplined football, and I could even see Dion just like sitting there, just like, You could see he was really, really not happy
Yeah,
with
you
the
got
way they were
Hall of
performing.
Famers on your coaching, Hall of Fame football players on your coaching.
He's got to work on his clock management, man. He's had 2 games now where that last 2 minutes of the game was real bad, and he left timeouts on the board like that. So that's something to keep an eye on, as far as, him as, coaching. And I love Dion and everything he's done for CU, but yeah, that's been skeptical. His play call or his time management at the end of the game has been questionable, but you're right. CU is rocking right now. I just, some of those, like I said, those SEC games, or even, obviously I went to multiple, Wisconsin Badger games when I was living in Madison, and it's just on a whole nother level. But either way, should be fun to watch it play out. Ohio State, I think, is definitely the clear number 1, obviously. And, but right now, anything behind that is kind of a
Get
mess.
them out of here. No,
well, I know. I'm with you.
They're going down. They're going down.
I don't want them to win again.
Mark my words. They won't repeat. It's just too hard. I mean, I think they're a talented team. I just think there's a lot of talented college football teams. And I think what's cool about the bracket is it's going to be like the pros. Even Ohio State last year, they were talented, but they did not play well during the regular season. Yeah. They played well enough to just sneak in there, and then they just clicked and caught fire. And I think you'll see a team that'll just come in the dance. They'll come in the bracket. They'll catch fire, and it could be Ohio State again. But my feeling is it'll be someone else. I think we'll see another team emerge this year. We'll see. For so long the SEC dominated, and what's interesting is it seems like the transfer, the NIL and college players getting paid, and the transfer portal changes. I feel like all those changes have kind of created more parity around, from even across conferences, where you're seeing the Big Ten. Or I don't even know what they call it anymore because there's 20 plus teams in there, but whatever it used to be, the Big 10, the Big 20,
the Big 18.
They're as strong or even stronger than the SEC when you look at the teams that are in the top 10. So between Oregon and Penn State and
Oregon's the one to
Ohio
watch
State.
out.
Yeah, I like Oregon. I mean, I would their quarterback, when I was watching just a bit of the highlights, their quarterback looks like he's playing as good as anybody. So I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like Oregon's always been kind of around smelling it, but just never quite has gotten there. So maybe this is their year finally to push through. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yep, exactly, guys. Well, we're closing in on our time or whatnot. So before we go, though, I got to get a prediction, and then we'll come back and see who came the closest. But on an actual prediction, let's go around the table. What is the Broncos-Eagles game going to be this weekend? What's
score?
Yeah, what's the score? Who's winning? Who's losing? Who wants to jump?
I'll go 24-17. 24-17 Eagles.
Oh, look at this. The pessimist. I'm saying 30-24 Denver.
Oh,
We're going into Lincoln Financial Field, and we're going to kick Jalen Hurts in the nuts. We're going to smack Sirianni and that other fat Goomba in the face. Yeah, that's right. I'm calling you out. I'm also Italian, so I can call you that. And you walk around, you basically disgrace the Italian-American population with the way you walk around, whatever your name is, the fat Goomba guy on the sideline. We're going to come. The Denver Broncos are going to come in. You're going to taste a little orange crust. You think it's going to be sweet, but it's not going to be sweet, Jalen. We're going to punch you in the mouth. Here we come.
Yeah.
Right. What do you got, Aaron?
31-14 Denver.
Whoa.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, well, there you go. I like the confidence, but right there, I'm going to be very similar, 31, but I'm going to be 31-30. I think we're going to win it on a Will Lutz field goal with seconds left. So Denver in the win column, 31-30 is where I'm at. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Absolutely love getting caught up, talking football. It's been fun. Looking forward to do it again. So, folks, this is another episode of the Woodshed with Cody Wood on the Equus Radio Network. You guys all have a great night, and come and check us out one more time with the Gridiron Gang.
Thanks, buddy.
If you enjoyed the podcast, let us know. Contact Cody Wood at cody@equustelevision.net. Thanks for listening, and join us every week right here on the Equus Radio Network.